Welcome to Industry Ignited, the podcast where we showcase innovators who are redefining industries with bold ideas and breakthrough technologies. I'm your host, Dr. Leanne Aguilar. Today's guest is Mark Terrill, a serial entrepreneur who has founded and led 7 companies over the past 20 years, achieving 3 exits and an IPO. Now, as CEO of OrthodontiCell, Mark is transforming orthodontics with a patented bioelectric stimulation device that reduces treatment times from 2 years to as little as 3 to 6 months, decreases pain by 70%, and permanently stabilizes teeth. Mark, welcome to the show.
Leanne, thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be here.
I'm looking forward to the conversation.
I am as well.
So, Mark, you've built and led multiple companies with great success. What drew you to orthodontics as the next industry to disrupt?
Good question. And being that I've always been in healthcare, specifically in medical devices, generally speaking, the background is with cardiology or orthopedics. Actually, my previous company, CEO, introduced me to them and said they needed some help, great technology, and needed some business direction. And so, we came to an opportunity to work together, and it's been an absolute pleasure because we are changing the way orthodontic market will be in the future.
Yeah, and we had our earlier conversation, and I'm super excited to share about what you're up to with our guest today. But first, tell me a little bit about how your past entrepreneurial experience shaped the way you're building OrthodontiCell today.
Yeah, I've done it a few times, as you mentioned, and it's really just not me, it's a team. But what you learn is there's a lot of the details that aren't really on the surface. And as you dive deeper into things, that you know that you really have to get those details completed and focus on those, because again, 20% of your effort really drives 80% of the revenues and growth of companies. So it's the other 80% who don't apply to revenue driving and growth that you have to kind of minimize and make sure that the focus is really on the company. So it's been a team approach and very successful with my team. And we are ready to do it again.
Great. Yeah, a team makes things more powerful, efforts more powerful. Yeah, that's for sure. What would you say lessons from your previous ventures were that have proven most valuable in this journey so far?
Nothing ever works the way it's supposed to. It always takes longer and costs more money. In the startup world, it's always about, getting capital in, and then doing the best you can with that capital, going through FDA if you have to. But the challenges always come up, right? But also knowing that 92% of startups do not succeed. Many times it's due to being undercapitalized, but sometimes it is the execution plan that just doesn't prove successful. So the challenges are to really stay the course, stay focused, be prudent with the dollars, and do everything you can to support the team.
Right. Now that's a staggering figure, right? 92% of startups don't make the cut, don't do it. Is there anything else you could elaborate on that? Any other tips for those who are in the startup space for being successful?
I think you really just have to be able to be extremely motivated, right? Because you need to be able to get up every day and know what the focus is for that day. You have to have short-term and long-term goals. Keeping the long-term goals in effect for OrthodontiCell, that is commercialization and getting through the FDA, which is about 12 months away. So between now and then, there's a lot of little steps we have to do to be able to get that. But I think it's vitally important to make sure that everybody is executing on their expertise and driving the bus, everybody in the same direction.
Yeah, right. Being on the same page, having that mission clearly established, and finding people who really align with that mission and can help propel you forward in the same direction. I agree. That's critical. Now, diving into what you're doing now. For those who are new to the space, can you explain how the OrthodontiCell bioelectric stimulation device works?
Sure. So we'll start with the basics. I mean, first of all, everybody has teeth. This is about helping people straighten their teeth. There are 8 billion people in the world. 3 billion of those have some sort of teeth issues and want to get straightened teeth. So now let's focus on really what we do. We focus on straightening your teeth like braces and aligners. Actually, we partner with those because people that have aligners or braces need to have their teeth straightened, and usually that takes 18 months to 2 years plus. The other problem exists that once you do go through that course of treatment, then what happens is almost 50% of the time you have to do a refinement or a redo. So in other words, you might have to have retainers, and there's all kinds of pieces that go with that. We've simplified everything, and we've taken technology that's been out there for many, many years, and think of it as a TENS unit. I'm sure most people at least are familiar with that. It really is a waveform, specific waveform that actually reduces kind of pain. But it's actually used for other factors. We take bioelectric stimulation and we target a specific waveform to a specific protein that is in your jaw. And what we do at that point in time is we want to be able to say, hey, we want to first loosen the roots of your teeth. We want to then straighten your teeth. And then we want to cement your teeth in place permanently. That is done by various proteins. So as an example, we have a specific waveform that targets the first one. It's called rank ligand, rank L. When you implement electrotherapy, bioelectric stimulation in the mouth, your body says, hey, let's increase the blood flow there. There's something going on here, guys. Let's bring the stem cells to the area. Well, stem cells have osteoclasts. The osteoclasts target the specific proteins. When they do that, macrophages are combined and then really work at the root of the teeth, and that is where we loosen them. Then, of course, you're always wearing braces and aligners. They're wearing them 24/7. We're weaker in combination with that. And then the other waveform that we're targeting, two other proteins that actually build up the calcium, which can build up the bone to cement them in place. I think the simplistic form is, think of it as it's almost Christmas time now. So we're going to go to a Christmas tree lot. We are going to go pick out the best tree we can. You pick it out. They're going to wrap it up in string. They're going to put it on the roof of the car. You're going to drive it home. You're going to put it in the stand. You're ready to decorate. So you cut the string that's on the tree. Well, what happens is the branches of the tree open up. That's exactly what your teeth do with braces, because they're wire braces or aligners, which are usually clear aligners, and that's right. Your tendency of your teeth to do that. The real simple answer to that is when you have wire braces, they tend to tip your teeth together and then force the roots together. That's why you tighten those wire braces. Very painful. What we do is move them translationally. So we move them together. And that once we cement them in place, they don't have a tendency to open back up.
Right. Okay. No, that's huge. And that's revolutionary to orthodontics. I mean, I remember going through, I think, 2.5 years of orthodontics when I was a kid, and it was painful. I remember that. I mean, I had to start with a binator for 6 months, I think, where they just brought my jaw forward. And then after that, the whole, braces with adjustments and, the discomfort for years. And then after that, right, the retainer that they glued in my mouth for a while, which eventually fell out. And at this point, I probably need to go back to get my bottom teeth, straightened out a little bit again. But this is, it's revolutionary, I think, for the industry. So tell me a little bit more. I mean, you've described the process. Tell me a little bit about the outcomes that patients can expect with this new technology.
Yeah, good question, Leanne. And basically what happens because we cement them in place, the patient outcomes, one, it does reduce that time, just like you. My sister had them on for 2 years, took them off for 3 months, and then had them on for another year. It's that refinement, that redo. what we're doing is, generally speaking, that's almost can be, 40, 50%. Because we cement them in place, the benefit of the patient are multiples. One, we reduce time. Because a lot of times you do it as a youngster, could be in those early age where it's adolescence and you're trying to look good for the boys or the girls and they're calling you metal mouth and things like that. We want to eliminate that as much as possible. So we shorten that time frame down to, let's say, 4 to 6 months. The other thing is we do reduce that pain that you mentioned 70%. And that's that pain associated with forcing those teeth to come together with the torque that's on those braces. And we accelerate the teeth movement, but then most importantly, and what separates us is that we stabilize them in place. Yeah. And again, the redos can go down to, 1-2% from 40-50%. So it's huge.
That is. So, tell me a little bit more about how this technology is capable of delivering these permanent results with speed and precision.
Yeah, again, it's all based on specific proteins, the waveforms going there, marrying up together with the osteoclasts and the proteins to form the macrophages. And that has proven in science. As an example, we have a study that was published in the AJO-DO journal, which is kind of the gold standard for orthodontics. It was published in December of 2023. And in there, we had a tag on there that said best evidence. Now, the journal usually doesn't do that. So they're just encouraging everybody to say, hey, this is profound data and a new study that shows that the market will be changing. And we're at the forefront of that. And then if you look at some of the competition who is out there, there are people that do certain things. It's all about accelerating teeth movement. One could be UV light. One could be vibration. It's unclear whether there's success on that part. What is definitely clear is that they don't stabilize. Now, there is a very invasive surgical procedure that's very expensive. Now, that works. I'm not so sure that would be my first choice. This is a device you use at home only 25 minutes twice a week, along with braces and aligners and over top of them. And it's very simple to use as opposed to a very invasive surgical procedure.
Okay, well, tell me a little bit about how that works. Like, describe the process to me of what a patient would go through using the device.
Yeah, so basically what you would have is you would have a mouthpiece that looks like a football mouthpiece. So we have a device that is called our bioelectric stimulator. And there's a cable to it. And then you have a mouthpiece, just like a football mouthpiece, that goes over top of your braces and aligners. And you're sitting at home, and the only thing you can do is turn it on and turn the intensity up. Usually, people have it at about 4 or 5. What that means is all you're going to do is feel a little bit of tingling and then leave it alone. It shuts itself off after it goes through the 25 minutes. You put it away, put it in a box. If you're a younger person, hopefully you're doing homework at least 25 minutes twice a week. And if you're an adult, you might be on the computer, you might be watching football, you could be doing a lot of other things, but it's very simple to use. And it's run by a 9-volt battery. So the absolute worst thing that could ever happen is, I don't know if you've ever done it, Leanne. I have not, but I'm sure some kids have. You put a 9-volt battery and put it on your tongue. That's the worst. I
actually, tingling. It's that tingling sensation. I have done that.
That's worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Very safe.
Okay. Very safe. Right. So beyond faster treatment times and reduced pains, what other benefits are patients experiencing from the device?
Well,
from the technology
patient standpoint, I think we've covered most of those. But really, let's talk about really what happens to everybody else. Okay. So you have a patient that doesn't have to do something for 2 years. They get it done in 6 months. Then you have the orthodontist, right? The orthodontist, the patient, I'll go back to the patient again, because generally speaking, you're going to go to the orthodontist every couple months. Now, if we shorten that to 6 months, you're only going a couple times. So you don't have to go there, interrupt your day. If you're a child, your parents don't have to take you, leave early from work and all that. But if you're the orthodontist, If he's only seeing you a couple times, well, now that opens up his schedule to see more patients. Typically, an orthodontist sees about 300 new patients a year for braces, and this would allow them really to drive additional revenues for the practice because of efficiencies and everything else. They actually would make over $2,000 more per patient for an orthodontist. So that's huge. And the last piece, think of it about the aligner company. Now, Align, usually if you're doing Invisalign, they're the 800-pound gorilla. They actually make 500,000 aligners a day. But out of that, 250,000 of those are for the redos.
Wow.
So you're currently, if you were doing aligners, you're going to change them every 2 weeks. Using our device, you're changing them twice a week. So Align Technology is going to sell you the same amount of aligners. Their revenue isn't going to change. What we do is, because we cut those redos, from half to, 1 or 2%, they save the money of producing the redos and the refinements, because that's not a charge that they charge the patient. So it's an expense to them. And now we cut that expense, they're more profitable. So they are actually going to want to be partners with us.
You're right. It's reducing their waste. It's reducing the work, the labor of redoing the liners, and also saves them a ton of money, in the meantime. So I'm hearing on the patient side, it's a lot more convenient, and it takes less time, and it's faster process. I mean, it's just a win all the way around. On the orthodontist side, it's more profitable. They can see more patients in a shorter amount of time. And then on the aligner side, too, there's that benefit that we just talked about, reducing waste and saving time and money. So you mentioned all of these things. So how does that impact the industry at large? I mean, what does this mean for orthodontics on a large scale?
Well, I think that's a good question, because when you look at the orthodontic market, as I mentioned, it's 3 billion people. And there's a lot of people out there there's a lot of waste that goes on, not just here in the United States, but everywhere. So what we're doing is we're actually trying to make it more efficient, more time sensitive. Most people do not want to be in braces for 6 months. And oh, by the way, we're going to eliminate the retainers, the kind you take in and out. Then there's permanent retainers. And I think both of those, at least my sister, she lost 3 of them. So there's a cost to that that's not even factored into this. But I think more importantly than any of this is the fact that the difference that we're doing in the industry for the stabilization of these teeth, that is market changing. Because, again, like I said earlier, there's a lot of companies that think they can increase and accelerate tooth movement. We do it, and we've proven it in this study. As again, going back to the study, 60% of the patients had permanently straight teeth in 3 months, and 100% in 6 months.
Wow.
So we've also treated some other patients, kind of friends and family. We're not really supposed to on the FDA standpoint, but we have, and so that's why we're going through the FDA protocols right now. But really what we've shown is it's 100% effective. Now, I have been in the medical device world and gone through the FDA 2 previous times. Nothing's 100%. We know ours isn't either, but so far the results have been 100%. So we know it works. We're going to the FDA with actually less success, 2 out of 3 helping those people. So when you look at the market, we're really trying to revolutionize how this is done. And the market is going to be wowed. And, we think we have something very unique. You mentioned we have 7 patents. So we put a big moat around what we're doing, and we're excited.
Right. So what's next for OrthodontiCell as you move towards launch?
Our 2 big things, Leanne, are continue in this FDA process. Obviously, it's a long process. it's going to take, as I mentioned, somewhere probably about 11 to 13 months. So I said 12 in the middle. So one thing that is key. But we have an FDA consultant that has done this for 25 years that says it's not if we get approved, it's when. The FDA is working with us. They like what we're doing. He has most recently the FDA consultant has taken another product through the FDA in the mouth with bioelectric stimulation, different focus. It was on sleep apnea, but still the point of it's a same kind of a product in there. He's excited about it. We are as well. And so the big thing is going through the FDA. And the second biggest thing, or 1A, if we want to have 1 and 1A, 1A is fundraising. We are raising capital to get through the FDA submission and then prepare for launch.
Yeah. So quite a process, intricate process, a lot of moving parts, but ultimately, very exciting and rewarding. And I think the outcome will be drastically life-altering for many people and benefit the industry in so many ways, like we just discussed. Now, how do you see this technology scaling internationally, especially with such a large global market for orthodontics?
Very good question, because we have our eye on a number of markets internationally. FDA, has a process, and they're known kind of worldwide as being the toughest. We know we're going to go through the CE mark in Europe. We know Japan has one. We know India has one. Various countries all have their own version of FDA, not as stringent, we believe. And so we are definitely going to be heading down those paths, probably as soon as this one gets completed. And what we're going to be doing is that we're going to do some licensing agreements in those countries that will help and speed up some of the processes. Fortunately for me, I actually just came back a couple weeks ago having conversations in Washington, D.C. With the ambassadors of both India and Honduras, and they're very excited about putting it in those countries. But there's certainly a lot of other countries, and the EU, the European market is huge, and we're looking forward to do that. So that is certainly on our radar quickly.
Yeah. And finally, Mark, what excites you most about the future of orthodontics and your role in shaping it?
Well, I'm new to the orthodontic world. Again, I'm used to cardiology and orthopedics. So what we really have here is, I have done this many, many times. This is the most compelling and market-changing technology I've been associated with. John, the co-founder, John Marchetto, phenomenal clinician. He is just the best, and he helped develop this. And we have something that really is revolutionary. We will be taking the market by storm, not only here in the U.S., but internationally as well, because this technology, there's nothing like it out there right now that anybody knows about. And we have a plan to be able to see quickly and scale. But there's nothing that's going to be like this to shorten the time, reduce that pain, and permanently stabilize the teeth. We are extremely excited. I'm very blessed to be able to be part of it and to lead the charge, but it's a team effort.
Yeah, no, very exciting technology, and I wish you all the success in getting it out there to market, quickly and scaling it worldwide. Yeah, I mean, I wish we would have had this like 5 years ago when I was putting my daughter through braces, right? I mean, I think she went through 5 years. Yeah, she had a very complicated case, and we went through like 4 orthodontists before we finally were able to, she had missing teeth and teeth in the wrong places and all that good stuff. So
it is really funny, because I talked to one guy and he told me he had the orthodontic treatment, braces and what have you, for 9 years. Now,
wow,
that's a long time.
Yeah, that is a very long time.
I don't know if I would have been diligent enough to go through it for 9 years, but that's the longest I've heard. I'm sure there's other examples, but he told me he did it for 9 years. And we want to shorten that to 6 months.
Absolutely. Right. No, I think many people will be very grateful for this technology. Well, Mark, thank you for sharing your journey and giving us a glimpse into how OrthodontiCell is set to transform orthodontics for both patients and practitioners. Now, before we close, how can listeners get in touch with you and learn more about your work at OrthodontiCell?
Sure. Be happy for anybody who wants to reach out to me. My email address is mark@orthodonticell.com. Pretty simple. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them on either the technology. We are raising capital. If anybody wants to be involved with that, happy to answer the questions with that as well.
Great. Well, yeah, to our listeners, please check them out. Do you have a website as well?
We
do.
Website? www.orthodonticell.com.
All right. Well, look forward to that product launch and sharing the word once you're ready.
Leanne, thank you so much for having me on here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time, and to your audience, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Great. Yeah, and to our audience, thank you for tuning in to Industry Ignited. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep igniting industry.